I trust that you are well and also hope that you had a good day so far. So, today we will be doing our grade 3 English lesson on multiple meaning words. So, multiple meaning words. So, we're going to do our grade 3 lesson on multiple meaning words. And before we start with multiple meaning words, in our previous lesson, we did homophones, right? Or, yeah, homonyms. And we will also see with all of our lessons that we are doing, right? It basically links. It just goes from the one lesson to the other lesson, and everything basically links, right? So with homonyms, it is basically where we have the same word that we have two words or two or more words that have the same spelling or pronunciation, but it has different meanings, right? And that was the words, the previous lesson that we did. So today we are doing our grade 3 English lesson on multiple meaning words. And before we start, we are going to log in to aplusstudents.ca. We're going to log in with our username as well as our password. And we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 3. All right, so we did homophones, right? On our previous lesson. And now we are going to multiple meaning words. So we're going to select the chapter of multiple meaning words. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under multiple meaning words is multiple meaning words with pictures, which definition matches the sentence, which sentence matches the definition. So that is going to be our focus lessons under the chapter of multiple meaning words. And before we start, right, our lesson that we are doing is on aplusstudents.ca. So if you do want to go back, there we have the chapter of multiple meaning words, grade 3, and that is going to be our focus lessons, which is multiple meaning words with pictures, which definition matches the sentence, and which sentence matches the definition. And it's on aplusstudents.ca. So, multiple meaning words, right? It is words with more than one meaning, or basically words with more than one meaning are called multiple meaning words, right? Or we can also call it homographs. So, if we have words with more than one meaning, right? And then we call that multiple meaning words. For example, right? So also when it comes to multiple meaning words, right? It is words that have the same spelling, right? It has the same spelling and it usually sounds alike. So it sounds alike, the spelling is the same, but the meanings of these words are different, right? So you can sometimes have two words, three words, right? That is spelled the same, it sounds the same, right? But the meanings of these words are different. And here we have an example. For example, bark. Bark. So the first bark, right, is a dog barking, right? So that is the first bark. And then we have another bark, right, which is a tree bark. So which means that the word bark has two different meanings. So if I make mention of the word bark, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm talking about the dog barking, because if there's no dogs around, then clearly I'm not talking about the dogs, right? So we get the bark, which is either a tree bark or the bark from a tree, or we can make mention of a dog that barks. And that is the word bark. So which means that bark, it is same spelling, right? In this case, it sounds the same, but the meaning is different. And if we look at the picture that we see here in front of us, right? If we look at this picture, that says multiple meaning words. Here we have fly, right? So in this case, fly and fly, it basically sounds the same also. But the first fly, if you look at the first fly, then it is a small little insect or flying little animal thingy, right, that flies around. So this is like a small little irritating, do we call it an insect, animal, or something, right? So that is a fly. And then also the other word fly is either where you are flying in an airplane, you're flying in a helicopter, right? Flying in an you can also fly like, what do we call that little like glider, right? So that is fly. You are in the sky and you flying. Then we have ring, right? Then we have ring. There's two different meanings of the word ring. The first ring is when it comes to the telephone, it's a telephone rings. So somebody's calling you from wherever and now your telephone ring. That is the first ring. And then we have a ring, which is either a friendship ring, an engagement ring, marriage ring, or just a normal ring piece of steel object with the little diamond on, right? Then we have palm. And palm, the one meaning of palm is basically like the palm of your hand, right? And then the other one is a palm tree. And then the same with wave and wave. So the one wave is like where this little boy is waving. It's either you're saying hi or you're saying goodbye. That is waving. So wave. And then also another wave is when we go to the beach. We go to the ocean, to the sea. And then depending on the type of weather, you'll find your waves either being calm. Sometimes you don't even see much of the waves, or you will see heavy or high waves. And then we have scale. Scale. So the one scale is where we measure our weight, right? So the scale, the first one, it measures our weight. So when we get on, it will tell us that we either weigh a certain amount. And then the other scale is the scales of a fish. So the scales of a fish. And then bat, right? Bat. And bat is little flying animal, black, right? Looks very creepy, comes out at night, or it's mainly in a cave or in the dark. And then we have a bat, whether it is a baseball bat, whether it is a cricket bat, right? But that is a bat. You even get a tennis bat, right? But these two words are spelled the same. It even sounds the same. but the meanings are different. Then we have chest. Chest. And the first chest is like a treasure chest with usually gold in, or um, sometimes they'll tell you that you'll find a chest in the ocean, or the pirates will have a chest on their ships, right? So that is a chest, like a treasure chest with gold and money and jewelry in, right? And then we have chest. So if you put your hand under your neck, right, just below the part of your neck, close to your heart, then that is your chest, right? It's like putting your hand on your chest. And then we have ruler. So the ruler that you use, a little object or thingy that you use to rule a line in your book, a straight line, or to do a form of measurements. And then the other ruler is either like your king or your prince that is ruling either over the country or the state, or yeah, so it's the ruler. So he is in charge, right? He's ruling. And these are multiple meaning words. All right. So now, remember we said that our lesson is on aplusstudents.ca. So we're going to go now to the very first lesson of multiple meaning words with pictures. So we're going to basically look at our pictures, right? And then we will say what the meaning of these words are, or which one is correct. And before we go to that one, we said some words have more than one meaning. For example, light and light. So the first light can mean that it's like switching on the light when it is dark, right? And then the other one is feathers, that can be very light, and that is to do with weight, right? Something being light or being heavy, for example. And then sometimes the different meanings, it even sounds different. Like for example, bow and bow. Bow and bow. And then we said with words with more than one meaning, we call those multiple meaning words. So it can either be two words with one meaning, with different meanings, or sometimes it can be three words that is basically sounds the same, spelled the same, but the meanings are different. So now we're going to look at the different pictures, right? And we're going to say what word matches the picture. There we have, right, like the very first picture, it's almost like a plant and something that goes into the ground. And what do we call that? So this is basically the root. So this is a root, right? Or roots. And in the second picture, if we look at the second picture, right, it is where a crowd of people are cheering, right? So they are cheering. So if our first word is root, right, and then we can then also say that this one where the crowd is cheering, it's like saying we are rooting for you, right? Like, you go boy, you go girl, like score a goal, like we are behind you. That is what the word root also means. All right. Then we have shake, right? As we can see, the one is where we are shaking they're shaking hands. So that is called a shake, as well as a milkshake. So that is also a shake. So the one is shaking hands, and the other one is a shake, also, which is a milkshake. So shake and shake. Then if we look at this picture over here, right? There we have a picture of a bowl that we eat porridge out of. Or if you are going to a maybe you go and play games and then you bowl. So it's called bowling, but you bowl, right? So bowl and bowl is the word, but the meanings are different. So the word is correct, meanings are different. All right. So now let us go to our test on multiple meaning words with pictures. So if we look at these pictures right in front of us, we need to say which one fits both the pictures. Is it fan or goal? There we have something that is blowing air and somebody that is like rooting for someone else. Is it fan or is it goal? And if we choose the correct one, we will say it is fan. So we get a fan that blows cold air and it cools, make the room cooler. And then we have another fan which goes to every game and cheers up the person. All right. So well done. If we look at the two pictures, right? Is it fly or is it parrot? Fly or parrot? One being a fly that flies around irritating people, and the other bird is flying in the sky. So is it fly or parrot? All right, so which means that if we choose our correct word, we will say it is a fly. So that is a fly, and that other birdie is flying in the sky. So fly. So well done. So we need to type the word that both fits the picture. Is it cold or winter? And if we look at both of the picture, right? This one guy shows that it's snowing. He's got a cap, scarf, gloves on, and he is shivering. And then the other lady is in bed with a cold. So if we choose the correct one, we will say cold. So well done, cold, not winter. Because if you look at the next picture, we can't say she feels winter or she has winter. So we can say she has a cold and he is getting cold. So well done. Well done. Now we have a man in a little boat. Does it mean, or what does it mean? Does it mean rowing? He's rowing, trying to catch fish, or is it boating? So if we look at this word, do we have row and boating? And in the second one, right, I just like going, for example, to a cinema or show. Then they have different rows, different aisles, which means that this word is row. Because that man in the first picture is rowing his boat. And then in the second picture, it is the rows of a cinema. So we will choose the word row. So well done if you have row. All right, so now we're going to the next one. Which definition makes the sentence or matches the sentence? What does school mean in the sentence? School. Britt and Quan have the same teacher at school. Is it school, which is a noun, which is a group of fish swimming together, like a school of fish? Or is it the second option, which is noun and it's a place for learning? School. All right, so if we look at the sentence, right, which is Britt and Quan have the same teacher at school, then it means that the second option is correct, which is school, which is a place for learning. The teacher at school, it's a place for learning, not a school of fish. All right. Then what does bill mean in the sentence? How much was the telephone bill this month? So how much was the telephone bill this month? Bill. Is it the first one, which is bill, the noun, the hard part of a duck's mouth, or how much money or how much you need to pay? We need to choose the word bold. Bill, sorry. How much was the telephone bill? So does it mean the hard part of a duck's mouth or how much you need to pay? All right, so if we now choose the correct one, then we're going to say if it's your bill, then then it means how much you are going to have to pay. That shows how much you will need to pay, not the hard part of a duck's mouth. And then if an elephant is hot, it sprays itself with water using its trunk. So the first word trunk, which is an elephant's nose, or a large heavy box, a trunk. All right, so in this case, we were talking about an elephant, right? So, and if an elephant is hot, it sprays itself with water using its trunk, right? Which means that we are going to say it's option one. Oopsie. Nope, nope, cancel. Sorry. So we're going to choose this one, which is trunk, an elephant's nose. So that is the trunk that we are talking about, which means that if it's hot, it's as if they are like sucking up the water with its trunk and they are spraying it over their bodies. That is trunk, an elephant's nose. All right. So that is but a few definitions that we had to match with the sentence. And now we're going to do the test. What does train mean in the sentence? Train. We need to say what does train mean in this sentence. Laura will train her dog Astro not to beg for food. Does it mean train, which is a verb, which is to teach someone to do something? Or train, which is a noun, a line of railway cars on a track pulled by an engine. Laura will train her dog Astro not to beg for food. So which train do you think it is? Is it a verb to teach something to do something? Teach to do something, sorry. Or is it a noun, a line of railroad cars on a track pulled by an engine? Train. Trading her dog Astro. All right, so if we want to choose the correct one when it comes to training her dog, then we can choose it is option 1. All right. So that is to train. It's to teach your dog to do something. What does close mean in the sentence? Close or close. I always close my window before I go to bed. Close. So close. I always close my windows before I go to bed. Does that close mean to shut something like a door or a box? Or does it mean it is not far away? So I always close my windows before I go to bed. So close. And that means to shut something. So we will then say it means to shut something like a door or box. Closing my windows, like shutting your windows. What does school mean in the sentence? So school. What does school mean within the sentence? Brett and Kwan have the same teacher at school. Is it school meaning it's a noun, which is a group of fish swimming together? Or is it school, which is a place for learning? So which one is it? What does school mean? Brett and Kwan have the same teacher at school. So is that a group of fish swimming together or a place for learning? All right, so in this case, the word school over there is this is a place for learning. All right. And then if an elephant is hot, it sprays itself with water using its trunk. So if the elephant is hot, it sprays itself with water using its trunk. So is it the trunk, which is the noun, which is the elephant's nose? Or a large, heavy box. So, is it an elephant's nose or a large, heavy box? Trunk. An elephant's nose or a large, heavy box? So, in this case, if an elephant is hot, it sprays itself with water using its trunk. So, which means that it is an elephant's nose. Well done. What does bank mean in the sentence? Bank. The police caught the thief who robbed the bank in Stafford. So, is it the first one, which is a noun? The ground on the side of a river, like the river bank? Or is it a place where people can save their money? That is a bank. So, the police caught the thief who robbed the bank in Stafford. So, if we look at the meanings, which meaning will tell us about or will tell us what bank means? Is it bank a noun, the ground on the side of a river, or a place where people can save their money? All right, so if we choose the correct word, then we will say it is a place where people can save their money. All right, because that is bank. All right, so now we're moving on. So now, as part of an activity, we are going to match the words in the middle to its different pictures. Because remember, we said that multiple meaning words, it is where you will have maybe one word and it will have different meanings. So, fly. Fly. If we look at fly, we need to now match fly. So, word fly. On the left, we have an older which is a fly that is used. And then also flying, it's like flying in an aeroplane. Then we have ring. Ring. And the first ring is where your cell phone rings. And the second one is a diamond ring. And then a bat, right? If we look at the activities, a bat. There we have a bat and bat. So it can either be a bat, like a cricket bat, baseball bat, tennis bat. Then we have palm. Palm. And this is like the palm of our hand. Yes, so one is correct and four is correct. and it's a palm tree. So palm meaning it's the palm of our hand, and the other one which is a palm tree. So well done. And to wave, remember you wave either goodbye to someone or it's a form of greeting. And there we have the first lady, and she's number 2. Wave. Mm-mm-mm. All right. So if we look at these words, right, these are multiple meaning words. It's like in this the clouds that we see in the middle, right? It is a word that has more than one meaning. So it is a word that has got more than one meaning, but it also sounds the same and it's also spelled the same. So you can get the same word and then there can be 2 or 3 different meanings. Mm-mm-mm. So that is multiple meaning words. All right. And before we finish off, let's go to the last one, which is which sentence matches the definition. So now we're going to be matching the sentences with its correct definition. So which sentence uses this meaning of second? Second. And seconds, right, is an adjective, which is the next thing a person, the next thing or person after the first, which means that we get first, then we get second, and then we get third. And an example is Carson's second painting was of a beach at sunset. So the second painting. So which means that Carson's second painting a was basically a beach at sunset. Then we have clip. Which sentence uses the meaning of clip? And clip is a little thing that uses to hold papers together. So you even get it like a hair clip, get a paper clip. So clip, it's a little thing that's used to hold papers together, right? So which means that this is like a paper clip that the a noun is basically talking about. Then train, it's a line of railroad cars on a track pulled by an engine. Train. It's a line of railway roads on a track pulled by an engine. So train. Passengers take a train from England to France. And this train It is basically a vehicle, right? Like a form of transport. All right. Which sentence uses the meaning of row? Row, a line of people or things. Abby couldn't take her eyes off the row of cookies in the case. So, the meaning of row, line of people or things, right? Is it Abby couldn't take her eyes off the row of cookies in the case, or I can row the canoe across the pond. So, which sentence uses the meaning of row? Row, which is a line of people or things. So if it's a line of people or things, then it's option one. Abby couldn't take her eyes off the row of cookies in the line because that is also like row, a line of cookies, a line of things. Which sentence uses the meaning of wind? And wind is the air that is moving. I really hope that you can hear me now. Wind is the air that is moving. So is it option one? The firefighters were afraid that the high wind would spread the fire, or I will wind Ginger's leash around a post so she doesn't run away. So wind, air that is moving. So if it's air that is moving, then we're choosing option one. That the firefighters were afraid that the high wind would spread the fire. Yes, and if you said the firefighters were afraid, then well done. That is correct. So which sentence uses the meaning of top? Top is a noun, a child's toy that spins. Is it I can't believe we made it to the top of the mountain, or David spun the colorful top across the table? So which one is correct? Top of the mountain or playing with your top and spinning it on the table? All right, so if we choose the correct one, then we would say it is option two. David spun the colorful top across the table because it says the a child's toy that spins. So a top is a child's toy that spins. All right. And then which sentence uses the meaning of well, which is a deep hole in the ground? All right, so deep hole in the ground. The farmer used a bucket and drew water from the deep well, or the story that David wrote for the contest was well written. So we will choose option one. All right, so deep hole in the ground. So the farmer, there was a bucket and drew water from this deep hole. All right, so grade threes, that is not the end of our lesson. on multiple meaning words. And we said multiple meaning words is where you will have two words or sometimes more depending that sounds the same and that is spelled the same, but the meanings are different. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson, grade 3, on multiple meaning words. Goodbye.